What we're going to talk about here is just a very, 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 very brief overview of, because I actually want to speak to people who are aligned with Charlie Kirk or who believe what I'm doing is insensitive and callous and off the mark. And I don't know what I'm talking about and how dare I and all of that. So let's just shift gears a little bit. And this message is kind of intended for those, because I do have a number of people that I know that watch Turning Point. And so I have watched a number of Charlie Kirk's appearances, a couple over the years, not so much, but in the last several days, I've really dedicated to my time to looking at that so I would know more about this person and all of that. So, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, he does come across as calm, confident, cordial, and questioning. He's got these prove me wrong events with his group called Turning Point USA. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, which is, multi-million dollar nonprofit that he started when he was 17. Interestingly, his wife started a nonprofit when she was 17. I just think that's really neat. So anyhow, Charlie Kirk does these prove me wrong events, and he takes questions from audience members and the event attendees. And I think it's actually quite compelling. And I don't know if some of those are planted questions or people were told to ask these things. For the most part, it does look sincere. These college students, kind of spewing their college stuff, what they learn. So the videos usually show that Charlie is cordial. He normally waits for the debater to finish their statement, and he hardly ever interrupts. Sometimes he does, but not that much. And he often will set the microphone down while the debater is speaking, and then he follows up with very targeted questions that often stump the questioner. And so I think a lot of the questions he's posed, especially about abortion and immigration, they're quite compelling. And I thought some of them were actually very engaging. The conversations do get heated, and Charlie has taken some flack for his interviews on, as I say, all the hot button topics like abortion, gender issues, immigration, all the things that they talk about on college campuses. And as I say, there are a number of people that I know personally who followed Charlie. They liked the work he did, and they saw him as a diehard Trump supporter, which he was. And thus, he was beyond reproach. What he did couldn't be criticized. Looking at this event now is considered distasteful and insensitive by certain people. Questioning what happened with Trump's assassination attempts was also considered in bad taste by many people. There were others that could see clearly what was going on. But I would say probably most people don't know that much about Charlie, other than what they saw in those videos, in his speaking events. So I think Charlie fans in particular would benefit from the deep dives that I'm going to do, because that way they're not just going to accept the narrative being presented in the media and then go along with the aftermath of these inflicted solutions that are going to be imposed on us, so especially for people that consider themselves conservative. I think they're the ones that really need to be doing the deep dives. And that's what I'm going to do in my effort to try to help people. I don't know if I think some people can't be helped, actually. I don't know. So as I say, I've got an entire Charlie Kirk playlist. I've got stuff on my Substack, and I want people to just read between the lines when it comes to the Charlie Kirk incident and any other event that's sensationalized in the mainstream media. So again, people are reading what they saw on the news, and there are a lot of comments online that show that people are absolutely devastated. I don't know if these are bot comments. I don't know if they're bot, meaning bought and paid for, or AI, or just bots on the internet that are making these. I think a number of them are sincere. People are devastated. They're saying, losing this young man who we are told was a father. We are told he was a husband, and that he was such a powerful influencer on college campuses, really reaching young students and sort of firing them up and igniting this new movement for conservatism. And I just have to say something here. If you were a skeptical person, and if you were cynical, and if you wanted to consider that this was some kind of operation, it's like, how perfect to have a young, congenial, pretty well-spoken, was very tall, very imposing, always, normally wearing a suit and dark clothing. That's going to be important in just a moment. You have someone like that in the media, rising to fame at the age of 17 on Fox News and everything. The young people could kind of relate to that because they were around his age. Now, like kind of aged out at 31, we're told. But think about it. People that heard Charlie share his faith. And I don't know what's in the hearts and minds. I don't know what's in people's souls as between them and God. I can look at some of the fruits because he did have some dealings with Scientologists and Freemasons and all that. But let's just say that a person, even an authentic person, who has ignited this new conservative movement so that people really are in favor of the things that I think a lot of us are, like get the government out of our business and, keep our constitutional rights, our God-given rights, I should say, because the rights don't come from the Constitution. And then to have such an incident like this happen and people so devastated, and then the aftermath to come out with these new laws that people never would have gone for in the first place. It's like a perfect scheme. So some people would say that, but let me tell you that I first heard of Turning Point back in the early convent. Oh, can I say that? What I meant to say was cooties days. I'm getting a little more bold on my channel here. In the cooties hogwash days, and I was attending these events and I was speaking at events, and I saw flyers being passed out about Turning Point. I had never really heard of it before. I even met one person who said, "Oh, I'm going to go for a job to organize at college campuses." So there were people who were paid to go to the college campuses. It was not really a grassroots organization. They were paid as a job to go to these places, to go to the different schools and start up these Turning Point USA chapters for the purpose of getting the students, hooked on conservatism. And what's interesting, on my other deep dive, I'm going to show you that a lot of the posts from Turning Point only got like, I don't know, a couple hundred likes. It wasn't like it was, outrageous number of views and likes and all of that. It was almost like they were trying to drum up the popularity of these events. And some of the footage that I saw had very few people there. I mean, Charlie, in some cases, was just sitting at a table, kind of waiting for people to come by. And one or two people would say, "What are you doing?" And then, there were others where maybe there were a couple dozen or something, nowhere near what we saw in Utah. In fact, if you can do the research, help me with the research, I could not find any reports of how many people had attended Charlie's events in 2024, the actual campus events. I'm not talking about the ones where he was with all of the other usual suspects in the cast of characters that are doing these summits and conferences where people pay to go. I'm talking about these prove me wrong campus events. I could not find any data on how many people attended. We were told at this one there were 3,000. There's a clue. Jot it down. That number 3 is going to pop up again. Don't discard it because it's a clue and it might make sense down the road. Would Columbo discard that? I ask you. All right. So anyway, of course, at these events, at least during the Cooties Hogwash days, there were a lot of people trying to connect with other truthers. So I guess it made sense that people were passing out information about Turning Point. And that's kind of all I really knew about it. So it wasn't until September 10th at Charlie's Utah event that I started to do my deep digging, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being bamboozled, duped, hoodwinked, and snookered by the same media that brought us the COVID hogwash, the kill shots, the chemtrails, and everything else that hopefully you didn't fall for. So we can trust what we see on TV, right? It's stunning how many people do. As I say, I've got another video coming. I've got several videos coming up for you, but let me just touch on a couple of things, because we're going to be looking at Charlie's background. Okay, that'll be a deep dive. We're going to look at the apparent lack of any family members. Like there's no siblings, there's no parents, there's no aunts, there's no uncles, there's no nieces and nephews, there's nobody but Charlie, basically. Now, there is a strange fib on Wikipedia. Well, we're told that Charlie had parents and apparently they passed away. And he was raised in Chicago. There's another clue, jot it down. What do you know about Chicago? Well, the hotbed of communism, of wanting to take away the rights in this country. A lot of bad things come out of Chicago. A lot of good things come out of Chicago. I have dear friends that are from Chicago. But you have to say, look at the characters that come out of Chicago. It could mean nothing, but it is a clue. Jot it down. Let's keep it. We can discard it later. There's a fib on Wikipedia that said Charlie's dad was an architect whose firm, now I actually cut this, I did a screen grab because when I went back to Wikipedia today, it had already been scrubbed. And in all of my open tabs, and oh my gosh, I have so much on my desktop, I will share that screen grab with you in an upcoming video where it says Charlie's father was an architect whose firm, Charlie's dad's firm, built Trump Towers. Well, in the upcoming video, I'm going to show you why that's not true. He had nothing to do with Trump Towers. It was a completely different architectural firm, had nothing to do with Chicago, and a very well-known architect was the head of that. And no, Charlie's dad, as far as I could tell, wasn't a part of it. It's also interesting that on that Wikipedia page, we find out that Charlie's full name, here's another clue. Are you ready? Charlie James Kirk. Anybody catch on that clue? Now, this was actually even before my time, but there was kind of a real popular, I think there's still all sorts of reruns, and the actor himself still pops up again and again. And it was called Star Trek. And Star Trek, the main character was Captain James Kirk. Just a quickie dig. I don't know if that means anything or not, but it's a fact. And it's a fact that Charlie's name is Charles James Kirk. And Charlie's such a friendly name. We can trust Charlie. It's such like a friendly, easygoing name. So anyhow, some people are saying it's kind of given the Captain Kirk vibes from Star Trek. May mean nothing, just mentioning it. I'm also going to touch upon Charlie's astonishing rise to prominence at the age of 17, being on Fox News, and he started his nonprofit, which now, as I say, brings in tens of millions of dollars every year. And there's some interesting, I'm going to do a deep dive showing you some kind of questionable dealings of this money and where it goes to some other companies that aren't disclosing. And it gets a little murky there, friends. I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share in an upcoming video Charlie's relatively under the radar marriage to Erica. Keep in mind, these are people, Erica included. It's kind of, speaking of names, see how that's spelled? It's a clue. You can discard it if you want. Erica, R-I-K, K-I-R, Kirk, K-I-R, Erica Kirk. That's cute. I like it. I'm not saying that's not her name. Remember that movie called The Wedding Singer? And Julia was going to marry her fiance. His last name was Gulia. She was going to be Julia Gulia. Everybody thought that was funny. Anyway, think about this. Erica's got like a booming Instagram page, which I'm going to share with you in a deep dive, all about some anomalies and oddities, questions I would like to have answered. And again, Charlie all over the internet since he was 17 years old, on the news. Now they say they wanted their wedding to be private. That's fine. A lot of people have private weddings, but there's a couple of anomalies here. So there were no attendees, very few attendees at the wedding. It was performed, my understanding, by Rob McCoy of Godspeak Church, and make of that what you will. And the pictures that I saw that I'll share with you in an upcoming video show them standing in front of a brick wall. And that's a clue. You should jot it down, because it may mean nothing, but it is a clue. Columbo would not discard it until he evaluated it, see if it popped up again and again, like maybe in Charlie's podcasting studio, where Erica did her talk 2 days after the incident, and she was standing in front of a brick wall as well. Those are clues, because bricks are a symbolism of the Freemasons. And that's another clue that you need to jot down, because it's going to pop up again and again, especially when we talk about the state of Utah. I'll just give you the punchline. It was basically settled by Freemasons, and I've got evidence for that. And I'll do a deep dive on that as well. This is just a very, very surface overview to let you know what's coming. So Rob McCoy performed this service, and we were told, Erica even said on her Instagram page, that there were no groomsmen or bridesmaids. Nobody really there to witness it. Although Turning Point USA later did foot the bill for a lavish party for them at some highfalutin hotel, because that's a good way to spend nonprofit money that you might have donated to Turning Point. Just saying. Just saying. Now, I would also say that in this day and age of social media, especially on Erica's page, on her Instagram page, where everything is being shown, but she wouldn't show her wedding. I find that an oddity, an anomaly. It could happen, but I'm going to jot it down as something odd that might have meaning down the road. I'm also going to do a deep dive on Erica's strange behavior, kind of before the incident, like on her Instagram page, and after the incident, including, as I say, speaking publicly within 48 hours with great composure and dry eyes. And I know some widows who couldn't even speak at their husband's funeral weeks later because they were so devastated. And many said it was quite chipper and cheerful. And then she showed footage of herself at the coffin, which many said was really creepy because she had to have somebody filming her. And even if she didn't know that they were filming her, she posted it on her Instagram page, showing her rings with the G. That's a clue I'm going to share with you in just a moment. And many people said those hands in the coffin looked like creepy. I had a photo somewhere. I'll do a deep dive for you later, friends, because I've got so many images and links and everything I want to share with you in the deep dive. But yeah, it is strange. Many people have said, yeah, I had an open casket at the funeral. I went up to my loved one. I touched them. I'm sure that happens. Do you record it and put it on Instagram? Especially when you're so private, you wouldn't even have a video of your wedding? It's an anomaly. It's an oddity. So I do have to show you some pictures because Erica has some very strange posts on Instagram. Well, let me just share these with you. I'm going to share my screen. In my first video that I did, I showed you that image that she had of her baby's hand making the Freemason symbol of 666, which people say is an A-OK sign. Do you have any pictures of you doing that A-OK sign? Like everything's okay. You're like, oh, Peggy, that's just the OK sign. I never use it. And it's actually a very vulgar gesture in many cultures. Like you would never do that in Brazil or anything. It would be like flipping somebody off with your middle finger. So it does create 3 6s, and it's a clue. You can discard it later, but it is a clue, and I wouldn't discard it today. She had a picture of her baby, and I showed it in my very first video. And many of you, I thought it was under a piece of glass, like taking a picture, you could see. But others said it was on a Xerox machine. So she placed her infant's hand, and I'm not even going to do the symbol, in the 666 OK symbol, with her hand, we're told, and Charlie's hand on top of it, pressed onto a photocopy machine. And she posted that on Instagram. Now, the reason it's important to me is because there are so many pictures of Charlie doing that same gesture. There are pictures of Trump doing it. There's pictures of Russell Brand, and all the cast of characters are doing that, all the Hollywood celebrities. And so that's a pattern, and patterns need to be noticed and observed and evaluated to see whether or not there's something there. If there are symbols being flashed, gangs have gang symbols, they flash them to have meanings. So to dismiss that, to say, oh, it didn't mean anything, is naive. So once you evaluate it and analyze it and you see there's a pattern here, what are they trying to say? A Healthy American sent me a picture I'm going to share in an upcoming broadcast of Erica in the car. I believe it was leaving the event or maybe going somewhere. I don't even know if she was at the event, flashing that symbol outside of the car window. Like, these are anomalies. These are oddities. These are bizarre coincidences that I'm jotting down as clues. So what I want to do is share my screen, and I've got to show you these bizarre posts on Instagram. Remember, you know them by their fruit. She loves to wear this ring that has the letter G. And there's another ring that looks like Charlie's. This is on her right hand. It looks to be a right hand. I might have messed that up from time to time. So I don't believe that's a wedding ring. And of course, Charlie is always wearing a gold ring that some people believe is a Masonic ring. And his bodyguard is wearing the identical ring. It's kind of weird. Like you're a married man and you would have the same ring as your bodyguard on your ring finger, your married ring finger. That's kind of another oddity, friends. So here's the G and the flashy gold and diamonds. Hey, you love gold and diamonds? Go do it. I like jewelry. That's not a problem. And oh, here we've got the G is a symbol for Freemasonry. You can dismiss it, or you can keep that as a clue that might be important down the road. So there's a G, there's a G. We're told that her daughter's name is Gigi. And some have said that that also indicates I need to dig a little deeper into that, but it's quite interesting to me. On her Instagram page, she sure has a lot of pictures of shoes. Now, shoes are a calling card. They appear in a lot of orchestrated events. People say they lost their shoes at that incident. I can't remember the state now. It happens in every state. It happened in a bowling alley. The guy said, "Oh, I didn't have my shoes on. I was running barefoot down the bowling lane." And I pointed that out at how strange. And people said, "Well, he was changing into his bowling shoes." Well, you would have socks on. So mentioning shoes or showing shoes, Tom Hanks has a lot of weird, creepy shoes on his Instagram page. It's just weird to me. The other weird thing is it got cut out of this picture, but she's showing two basketballs very clearly with the label Wilson. Now I look at everything for clues. Columba would do as well. You look at the logos, you look at the colors, you look at the symbolism. Yes, you might read into things, too deeply. Oh, why are you reading too much into that? Maybe, but I'm not going to discount it right off the bat. Wilson was the name of the ball that Tom Hanks had in the movie Castaway that looked so creepy and eerie, like a handprint, a bloody handprint, which I'm not going to go into any more detail because I don't talk about exploiting children on this channel. Plenty of other people do. But let's just say if you wanted to do a deep dive on that, do a deep dive on Tom Hanks, the movie Castaway. I think that's what it was called. I can't even remember if that's the name of it. Wilson and the white soccer ball and the red bloody handprint, and draw your own conclusions. Why is she showing this? She's talking about having a baby and she's standing on a basketball court. Maybe these are supposed to be the two babies. Maybe she had a basketball under her blouse instead of, I don't know. I'm not drawing that conclusion. But here you go. Here's her ring. She's got her Gigi wearing a pair of tennis shoes with the one eye symbolism. Friends, I don't need to tell you, I don't think, that the one eye symbolism is also the all-knowing Illuminati. Why would you do that unless you're sending a signal? Now, this is creepy. She's so private that she didn't want to show any videos of her wedding, but she's showing a video of herself collecting vials of blood. A lot of vials of blood. And if you play the video, which I'll link for you in an upcoming, just go to her Instagram page and look at it. Maybe you can find things I didn't. She shows herself compiling these vials of blood and putting them in a plastic bag because it's for her wellness. Oddity, is that bizarre to anybody but me? Okay, come on. Bizarre. You have to admit. There's much more on Erica that I'm going to do a deep dive, but that I just had to bring to you right off the bat. I'm going to do a deep dive on Charlie's creation of Turning Point. So he did it with the help of this mysterious older man named Bill Montgomery. I could not find very much on him. He's described only as a Tea Party activist. And there he's doing his little 666. This picture caught him kind of in mid gesture. It's a clue. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to discard it because I'm seeing a pattern. It's reported that Bill died of COVID in 2020 at the age of 80. Well, what do you make of that, friends? May he rest in peace. 80 is a pretty good long life. I did a whole video deep dive several days ago about what really happened when we're told that people succumbed to that mystery disease. I need to stay on this Substack a little bit to show you some more pictures. So Turning Point and Charlie have a very strange connection to Scientology, to Mormons, to Freemasonry, and the CIA. Actually, I need to edit some of this. This is a rough draft because I came across a report that the CIA was holding a recruiting event on September 12th at the very campus at Utah Valley College. Now, it's possible that was a previous year. So when I went to go back to look for that, I couldn't find the exact article again, but I am going to tell you about the CIA and its connection to Orem, Utah. And what comes out of the CIA, everybody? Just maybe drop a comment. Do you believe, let me come off the screen share for a moment. Do you believe that there are such things as CIA assets, meaning individuals who are told to portray themselves as one thing, but they're something else, right? Have you ever seen like a spy movie? Do you believe in spies? Do you believe there are people that are given a cover identity in order to carry out different, initiatives of the CIA? Or do you believe that doesn't happen? Do you think the CIA only collects evidence and there's no such things as secret, clandestine agents? Well, if you go on the website, the CIA website, you'll see you can filter their job openings by the clandestine services, which means it's all undercover. You have a fake identity, a fake name, a fake background, just saying. And the headquarters are in Orem, Utah, for one of these global operations. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. Yeah, I like to dig. How about you? I don't take things at face value. These are all clues, and I'm adding them up. So I am going to go back and share my screen a little bit. But the CIA does hold recruiting events on college campuses. They're probably looking for a person who can present themselves well, speak clearly, be persuasive, charismatic, someone who would appeal to whatever project that they're carrying out. It happens, friends. You can go to the CIA website. You can look under recruitment. They go to the college campuses and they went or are going. It said September 12th. That would be creepy if they did it a couple of days after the event. So possibly it was a previous year. I have that screen grab somewhere in my oodles and oodles of screen grabs filling up my desktop right now. So let me share my screen and we're going to take a look here. Again, all of this is going to be a deep dive. Today is cursory. This is just like the overview. So I did a deep dive on Turning Point's Instagram page, and they were promoting this event. So this is a promotional image, meaning they put it there intentionally. Do you see what I see? You see that right here? See that? What is that a symbol for? Yeah. It ain't good. And if you go, there are a couple of pictures with that same image on the Turning Point website. Just saying. So I got a couple other pictures to share with you, but I am going to cover in an upcoming video the actual incident in Utah, including the extraordinarily large crowd when he normally draws far fewer people. The anomaly, remember, an anomaly is something that is out of the ordinary. It's unexpected. It doesn't follow the traditional pattern. It doesn't exactly defy logic, but it's kind of like, So the anomaly of Charlie wearing a bright white t-shirt with the word freedom on it, he favors dark clothing. Most of his appearances, he's wearing a dark t-shirt. And when he goes on stage, he's got pretty much the same blue suit all the time. Which we saw in the casket, by the way. And somebody said that one of the buttons was unbuttoned, might have meant something. I'll have to dig deeper. Let me know what you think about that. These are clues, friends. I'm gathering them all. So what was also weird, and I'm going to show this to you when I do my deep dive, most of the videos of Charlie are super clear, like crystal clear, because they're done with a video camera that high definition camera, because they're going to upload these to YouTube or Instagram. And the people that are speaking, it's really clear, but the only footage we have of this event is really grainy. Where's all the cell phone footage of people that were right there? Some of the events that I've seen that they uploaded to their channel, Turning Point and others, they've got people standing around with cell phones recording what's going on because they want to say, hey, I was at this Charlie Kirk event. Where's all the cell phone footage? Some of the smiling, smirking witnesses that they drummed up said there was no cell phone service. All the cell phones got shut off. And then other witnesses said they were texting people. So which is it? There was no cell service, or you were able to text people? There's a lot of weird things that come up with these witnesses. A lot of people talking about their families scattering and strangers taking their children and to a safe place. No, why wouldn't the parent be with the child? And why would they be applauding strangers taking their children away? That's all upcoming, friends, in my compilation of the witnesses. But there were many anomalies happening there. The anomalies of the shot, the puffing of the air. I was among the first people to even talk and explain what a squib device is. And I guess a lot of people saw my video and started. I'm glad that the information is getting out there. So yes, there are all these anomalies and so many more. I'm going to cover those in a separate video. But again, let's talk about the witnesses for a moment. Why were they smiling and smirking? Why did they seem so unaffected by this trauma and tragedy? Why were they not devastated? More importantly, where did they come from? Did they go up to TV cameras? We were told everybody fled the scene. Did they come back to speak to the media? How did the media find them, or how did they find the media? Everybody was running away, we were told. The families were scattered. Why did it look like these smiling, smirking witnesses were trying to recite like memorized points, like a script? Even one guy started saying something like, and kind of backtrack, like when you're trying to remember something in a recital, like if you're playing the piano, you make a wrong note, you kind of start back from where you left off. It's very strange. Why did they insert such obvious talking points like needing more security and the free speech issue? It was very strange, almost like they were told to talk about these things and to say, other people are applauding what happened. How would they know that if it was right there on the scene? These things are anomalies, friends. They're clues. They don't add up. How about the very first, reported by AP, Associated Press? The very first witness was called Tyler. Are you ready? Get a gun. Tyler. Where have I heard that name before? Oh, that's right. The shooter, alleged shooter's name is Tyler. Well, they inserted that name in the story early on. Tyler Get a gun, was one of the first. And he only came on by by audio on a phone call. So I guess it was easier for him to read the script since he wasn't in front of a camera. Just calls it like I sees it, friends. We're pretty far into the video. Those who don't care for what I'm talking about have left a long time ago. All right. I'm going to do another video, lots of videos coming up for you about the strange things about this alleged shooter. Again, also named Tyler. And I wasn't the first to point this out, but I got this from a Substacker, Sage Hannah. I will warn you with quite vulgar language frequently, but I did see this and I thought it was worth sharing. So here's a picture. There's no booking ID. Normally there is in the corner, like the ID, it has the booking ID and the location. That's not there. Maybe in Utah, they don't do it that way. There he is. Whoops. Oh, no, that's the other one. That's the other assassin. And it's also interesting. I have this in another Substack for you. The nose is exactly at the level 66. It's a clue. Take it or leave it, but that's what it is. So, I thought that was interesting. Again, and there's the booking ID. So that booking ID is not attached to Tyler. And we are also told that Tyler was being held privately, not with the other inmates because of the sensitive information, whatever, I'm sure, whatever. I'm also going to do a video about the fact that this took place in Utah, which has very strong, deep CIA ties. I'm going to talk about the history of the Mormons, which is rooted in Freemasonry. Did you know that? I'm going to share with you the new flag of Utah that came on the scene in 2024. I think I'll share that with you in just a moment. In fact, let me do that right now. So the old flag of Utah looked like it was maybe created by a person. This looks like it was created by a computer. Why is it important that it's a beehive? Well, that's because a beehive has to do with, well, let's take a look here, shall we? Here we have the Masonic Lodge, number 33, the symbolism of the beehive. It's pretty small text here, but it basically says that the beehive displays Masonic values. And here I got this just off of, I giggled it. In Freemasonry, the beehive is a symbol of industry, unity, and cooperation, representing a harmonious and industrious society where individuals work together for the common good. I'm sure there are people that are willing to portray their roles in order to further the common good or get paid for it anyway. It embodies the virtues of diligence, perseverance, mutual support. The beehive is also an emblem of the Masonic Lodge itself, highlighting the structured and supportive environment where Freemasons developed as individuals and served society. Now, there's a couple of other interesting things. Again, I'll do a deep dive on this for you, friends, because the Mormons started out as Freemasons, Joseph Smith and his ilk. And of course, they settled in Utah. I have to do a little more info on that. And here's what also is interesting. Remember the Ukrainian neck incident? I told you I was going to be covering that as well. He had a bee. The alleged stabber had a bee tattooed on his neck. Are you getting the neck symbolism? And this, for some reason, looks like a number 6, this little gray hair. Peggy, there you go again, making mountains out of molehills. It's called a clue, friends, and I'm going to tuck it away just like Columba would. It may mean nothing, and it may mean something. That is definitely a 6 right there. One gray hair curled in the number 6. And that's a clue. And if you don't know about the numbers, I'll be breaking down all the symbols for you in an upcoming video. This is pretty bold. I would say that's very persuasive that we see the state of Utah was changed from its, oh, what the heck, I'll just show you the old Utah flag. It also had a beehive on it, but not as prominent. Why was it changed in 2004? I would like to know. And let's take a look here, shall we? We'll see what Giggle serves up to us. And the other flag looked like a flag. Here it says Industry, Utah, and there's a little beehive, 1896. Now there's no name of the state. There is a star. I don't know what the star represents in the state of Utah, but it's kind of interesting that they have it there. Again, just a little clue that I'm going to tuck away for later. So here, I want to talk a little bit about the connections in Orem, Utah, in specific. Did you know many of you would give him the People's Choice Award for the super duper, as one of my Healthy Americans called it, the Duper's Delight? I'm going to have another video coming up with the Duper's Delight People's Choice, and you get to vote on the winner. And I think a lot of people would vote for Robbie Parker. And if you don't know Robbie Parker, just do an internet search and he'll come up from the shady Nook extravaganza that they're still trying to milk all these years later. And guess what? Robbie Parker is from Orem, Utah. Well, there's a lot of CIA people in Orem, Utah, and I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. In fact, Utah has the first, and I quote, intelligence community comprehensive national cyber security initiative. I'm going to share that with you. Guess what the code name is, friends? Are you ready? The code name for this initiative is Bumblehive. How do you like them apples? You see, they're mocking you. They're rubbing your noses in it. They are, it's very despicable And it's like they want us to see it. And they want us to be outraged that we can see it and the others can't. So the state of Utah has a beehive for a flag. The other alleged neck incident, the guy had a bee tattooed on his neck. The country's intelligence thingamajiggy called the Bumble Hive. I'm going to share that with you right here. Here it is. I know this is kind of hard to see, but I will do a deep dive for you in an upcoming video. And it basically says, and you can go to Domestic Surveillance Directorate, Defending our nation, Securing the Citizens, Utah Data Center. The Utah Data Center, codenamed Bumblehive, is the first intelligence community comprehensive national cybersecurity initiative data center designed to support the intelligence community's efforts to monitor, strengthen, and protect you. Oh, it says the nation. So they want to monitor you, and it's in Utah. And let me share this other very interesting thing. I did another little deep dive here, and this is called CIA Global Intelligence. You can go to that.gov. I'll have links for you in my deep dive. Our office locations, Orem, Utah. Who'd have thought that this event took place in basically the CIA headquarters of Utah, Orem, Utah, the Beehive State, which is tied to the Mormons and the Masons. And the Global Initiative head office. So I'll do a deep dive on that for you, friends. We're going to wrap up here because I also have to do a deep dive on the aftermath of what's going to happen next. Because, as you know, there is going to be Charlie Kirk statues. There already is a GoFundMe, probably many. And of course, no connivers are going to come out of the woodwork and try to deceive people into putting up GoFundMe, saying that it's going to go to the family. They're multimillionaires after all. Of course, they need a GoFundMe. There's going to be vigils, and there are going to be new laws taking place. Yes, I think there is one. My assistant sent me, Olivia. She said it's the Charlie Kirk bill is being introduced now into our federal Congress. And so there will be lots of new laws, just like after 9/11, taking away your freedom. But this time, instead of people grumbling about it, they're going to applaud it. It's in honor of Charlie, after all. Conservatives are going to go along with it because it's for our peace and safety. It reminds me of a Bible verse. Maybe you know it. First book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 3, in fact. And it starts like this. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. I think I'll just wrap it up here, friends. We did pretty much a deep dive, a lot longer than I anticipated. I thought this was going to be a relatively short video. So I wanted to touch on some of the things that you probably all are already aware of, to let you know that I am aware of it as well. I have pages and pages and pages of notes. I've got multiple windows opened of Substacks that I'm working on and videos that I've been reviewing, and there's so much more to share. Ideally, I would like to stop talking about this after this week, because I don't want to give more of my time and energy and life essence away. But because I am dedicated to exposing the deception, which the book of Ephesians tells us to do, every once in a while, I'll get somebody on the channel saying, Peggy, I can't believe, how could someone like you do these things? It's such of an unchristian nature. Well, actually, we're supposed to expose evil. We're supposed to expose deception. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And I want to help people not fall prey. I don't want people to be devastated and afraid, thinking that they're going to be, and of course they trotted that out in the media with the witnesses as well, that they were so afraid that they're going to be hit next. And this other narrative being pushed that somehow you're going to be murdered because of your views. That doesn't happen that often, friends. But they're putting that narrative out there for fear and division. So I don't really want to keep talking about this, but I will until I feel that I've gotten my message out, which is why I'm going to do a deep dive on these things, even if it appears insensitive to some. You can hear I'm almost, speaking of throats, was that insensitive? I'm sort of stressing my voice right now, friends. So I'm going to rest my voice. I will be back with you doing some of these videos. You might have some shorter videos when I'm doing compilations and so forth. And that way you can kind of consume them, digest them, understand them, and share them with others. This is quite a deep dive. And I want to thank everybody for staying so long through the end of this video. If you just hopped on in the middle of the live stream, go back to the beginning, because the beginning part of this video, I think, is some of the most important information that I've ever shared here on this channel. I'm going to have a separate Substack just talking about critical thinking and why it's so important. And I will be referring to this video again and again and again so that people understand why looking for clues and digging deeper and reading between the lies is of utmost importance. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. I will take a look at your comments after this broadcast, and I will also do a video with a compilation of your comments that are so insightful and that are sure to educate, inspire, encourage, and empower others. So signing off now, get on that Substack if you want to see some of this in a written format, and that is at peggyhall.substack.com.